Now we have the exact same thing happening here for our individual area cost per meter square. So for this is for the commercial construction cost. So we still have the net leasable area in this scenario, and then we have the total area that still needs to be built for the leasable area to be functional. So in this scenario, you have the same thing as you've got the individual area cost per meter square. If you've got those details, you can put them over here, or you can select the average cost plus gross floor area. So you've got the total gross floor area, and you can select this option over here. But in this scenario, you can put in a flat rate, and then you've got other build area as well that still needs to be built. And sometimes when you get your development summary from your architect, you'll see that this is the area that still can be sold. However, there are still other areas that needs to be built over there, and then they can come in separate to each one of these. So you can add them here, and you can put in the number of units. So if you're putting 2 units of that configuration and the gross floor area is 500 square meters, and in most cases you'll find in commercial settings and retail settings, and they have a thing called efficiency. What that means is that if your plate size is 500 square meters, the architect would be able to derive an 85% efficiency, so that out of the 500, 425, which is 85% of 500 area, is net leasable area. So that area can be leased. Now we need this area so that we can actually calculate what we can rent it out for, and then be able to calculate the outgoings against it and capitalize it, and be able to get to a total sale value or the gross realization value of that commercial space. So that's the reason that I've got these two options here. So this is average cost per gross floor area, and the other option is individual cost per meter square or per square feet. So if you select that option, you can come in and just put in the units that you've got, and if you've got these values over here, you can go with this option, and your average cost is calculated based on what you've got there. So if I change that, you'll see that these things get changed. But if I come back here and I select the gross floor area option, and I change that to maybe 400, for example, and you will see that now the option is based on the 400 gross floor area with 85% efficiency with the net leasable area and so on. So these are the options that we've got, and just make sure that you select the right option when you're doing your calculations. That way you can understand how each one of these can be calculated based on the net leasable area and based on the total built area. Again, you can click on any one of these to figure out what are they going to total, and see what is happening, because over here the formulas are very basic and you can actually understand what's happening over here. Now at the bottom we've just got an average cost, we've got the total number of units. If I add more units on this side, those units will get added at the bottom, and then there's a summary right in the top right corner, which is then linked to further calculations. Now we've got all of these options here, and if we keep going towards the left, and I'm jumping the gun over here because I'm telling you how all the other calculations are working in the sense. So for example, I've got the total area that needs to be built on the commercial side, and then I know what the net leasable area is going to be, and then I can actually allocate that I'll be able to rent this at $250 a square meter, or or let's say $300 a square meter, or whatever. And that gives me an annual rent, GST amount, ex GST amount, and it gives me the gross outgoing over here. Once I've got the gross outgoings, I can actually then get the net rent that I'm going to make from it, and then I can put in a capitalization rate in order to actually find the gross realization value. So at the moment it's 0 because I haven't got anything, but if I put that I've got a unit, it'll tell me that my end value based on $19,000 rent for the whole year. If I capitalize that 5%, or if I capitalize at 7%, the value is going to go down lower even further. So my value toward for each one of these would be about 281,000 at 5% or 7% capitalization rate, depending upon what I've used to capitalize it at. So make sure that you are careful when making your selection for the commercial space, because there are more elements at work in order to get to the realization value.